little smaller for you, but it's just, yeah. So this looks like at least 5 to me. Oh, you want to check it out? Also at least 5.
Yeah, if it's tight, we'll just provision it can.
By declaration, it's 5
inches.
inches.
Cool.
Cool.
Is there any in these corners or what?
Yeah, there's also line of sight blocking L's over there, which we are out of L's.
Okay, you guys are live. I'm going to check the audio on my phone.
Sounds good. We have more crates.
No.
That is not enough crates.
So we can put one of these over here.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if that.
These
Are these? Well, this.
these are meant to. You should be able to stand behind these and grab the objective. It looks like.
Okay.
Up here. So put these like with the, I don't know, frontmost, like back right corner on the dot.
Okay. We'll just say these are totally impermeable.
Yeah, this is a block. You can't see through it. You can't move into it.
That's fine. Okay. Right. Secondaries. What's the mission secondary? Is this the one we blow up objectives?
Yeah, it's garbage.
That's hot garbage.
You have to blow up the objectives in your opponent's DZ.
Yeah. It's almost as bad as one that's like a 3 and 3. You need to hold all 3 of them for like 4 points or something.
You need to hold like 2 of yours and 1 of your opponents.
I was like the one that's 3 objectives and 3, and you have to hold 2 or 3 of your opponent's objectives at the end of your command phase.
Yeah, of course,
like,
no problem. Just win the game on turn 1, and you can have 3 secondary phase. Why not? This is, let's try tape measures.
Oh, yeah.
Mine.
Let me show you guys how to do the scoring.
Sure, yeah.
I have no idea how to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is not complicated.
I'll volunteer for this task.
Just to show you. So if you just click on any of these kind of fields, down here, like your second, just double click it and just change it. It's done, and that's it.
Cool.
Okay, so you select the field, go in the thing, select the field.
Yeah, if you don't want to select, you can just use this.
Okay, so the list of variables,
Yeah.
double click the one you want to edit it.
Yep.
Okay, are we live?
You're like,
I need to stop swearing now.
Yes.
Let's do this.
I don't think there's a commentator, so you guys can just talk.
Cool.
It sounded okay. I was able to really see on my phone. It sounds.
How many people are watching us?
Let's see.
6 a.m. stream 2, I'm guessing single digits?
You have 8 people watching right now.
That's single
Hello,
digits.
8 people watching. Welcome to Charity Hammer. This is a really great charity event. We're doing it for a guy in the local community named Vince who's having a really hard fight with cancer, as well as to raise money for Fred Hutch. It's a really great cause. We've got a lot of support, and we really appreciate it. This is the second to last game in the losers bracket for the tournament. I am playing a bunch of guard bodies. I have 100 guard bodies, some tanks, and it's great. What are you playing?
I am playing a big fat Jormungandr brigade. We got triple hero duels, both mals to buff them up, and then craft units all over the place. We got a whole bunch of Ripper Storms, a whole bunch of Sky Slashers, and a couple of Lictors, a couple of Broodlords.
So you took some knights that basically get a 150-point discount for not stopping.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's
It's
a great deal
And then
to me.
also they picked up a bunch of durability in the process. They
Yeah,
did 6 wounds for a way better save and a way better
What
bonus.
I've saved is probably pretty good there.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Also, it looks like on the schedule, John and Danny should be commentating on this. I'm gonna ask Paul if he wants to do something about that, and if not, no big deal. Hey, Paul. So on the schedule, John and Danny are supposed to be commentating on this. I don't know if that's
I'm wearing my other headphones so I can.
okay, so in terms of secondaries, until they fixed in their ranks, that's not good against you.
I've got 53 models. I wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, once they fix it like the ITC did, I'm sure. like ITC went through this whole process and figured out that it doesn't work if you do it by.
Do you have a way to keep score, by the way?
Yeah, I can keep score. I just gotta go pen.
I'd like, let me see if I can grab a pen. I'd like to keep score. I didn't bring my dang pen today. I don't know where it went.
It sounds like the commentators are doing this one, so you guys can just.
Okay, they're coming to signed up for both, but that's fine. Yeah. Pardon? There's a,
What's that?
Glad I brought these headphones. These will come in handy.
Oh, are you an artist here?
No, so
No.
You do have some.
We have Mob Rules John and Danny.
Yeah.
Oh.
You'll have some conversation.
Hi, Danny.
They'll be on loud and talking, and you guys can just play the game.
That's great. Danny's good people.
Trying to be obvious.
I'm happy to have Danny telling me what I'm doing wrong. Do you have how many characters are in your army?
3.
And they're what are they?
The 2 Brood Lords and the Melancholy.
Cool story. Do you have a mountain scepter in your list?
Yes.
So if I want for bringing it down, you have 3 higher duels and a mountain
2,
scepter.
4, 6, 7, 8, 9 points available if you take me. Wouldn't recommend it.
No, that sounds like a trap. Okay.
Alright, I got mine in the middle. You got yours?
Domination, grind, banners.
Do none of those overlap? I feel like 2 of those overlap.
Domination is your first category, grind is your second category, and banners is general operations.
Okay.
Yeah, the first bucket is domination, engage, and something else.
Domination and line breaker. Hide Behind the Rock. That's the game we played today.
This sounds like a really advanced 40k deck.
Oh yeah, man. Big, absolutely galaxy brain.
Just big brain play.
Yeah.
More garden.
Makes sense.
I believe I'm literally lining up 100 bodies on the line here.
I believe it.
I think there's like one move. I don't think there's another one that's good.
I don't know why you would bother.
Oxymoron. I don't know. Unless I have some kind of special tank commander that I'm telling you about.
Yeah, you still got basically everything.
I am saying stuff so I'm not sure if the output is going out. All right, and we are talking. We're still talking. I am asking the stream. Are we a little bit fuzzy? I'm not sure what's going on with the stream today. Let me try connecting and reconnecting. Oh, you can hear me? Okay. Great. That is perfect. All right. So today we are here early in the morning to watch a redemption match, a battle of two, well, relative titans here. We've got Tyler playing his Jormungandr Tyranids versus Zach playing a full Imperial Guard list, pure Imperial Guard. So we're playing mission 12, Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is a 6 objective mission. We've got some secondaries for our two folks here. We've got Tyler running Domination, Grind Them Down, and Raise the Banners. Tyler's playing Engage in All Fronts, Scramblers, and Thin Their Ranks. So we'll have to see if the firepower from the Imperial Guard can bring down these 3 hero duels with all the buffs in the world on them. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but I guess we'll have to see. Scorched Earth, of course, is relatively, it's a Dawn of War deployment. So 12 inches up the table. So a wide area, a wide swath of board to cover. Now there's a lot of intervening terrain on this table, a lot of obscuring terrain. So it might be tricky for Zach to pick off some of these units. We'll have to wait and see. Now, yeah. So the barbed hybrid duels, of course, have 12 shots each. Strength 8, -2 AP, 2 flat damage. So they can do work against a lot of different targets. And the ability for them to move around and have a 1+ armor saves, because of course they get light cover. as long as they don't advance or declare a charge. They really are pretty tanky. Combine that with a -1 to hit from the Malanthrope and a -1 strength from a Maliceptor, means these guys are really tough to take down. That effectively makes them toughness 9. I'm not sure if that's going to matter a ton against the tanks of the guard. We've got a couple of Manticores and some tank commanders. It'll definitely help. Now Zach does have a lot of plasma guns in his army. He's got three. He's got 3 special weapon squads um, in his list, as well as 3 command squads. So he's rocking. Let's see, 9 plus 12, so 21 plasma guns in his list. There's also 2 tank commanders with multi-meltas and demolisher siege cannons, as well as 2 full payload manticores. So that means that these guys are 3 flat damage with 2d6 shots. They can fire out of line of sight. Now, Zach's guard has disciplined shooters, which is an 18-inch rapid fire, I believe, and then wilderness survivors, which means they get light cover. They have a very similar trait to Jormungandr. And then the spearhead regiment with the manticores and the tank commanders has got the gunnery experts and spotter details traits, which means that he gets to roll a dice every time he shoots. So really can put out the pain at a long distance across the table.
Can you hear me now, Danny?
I can hear you, yeah.
Amazing. So all it took
John,
was changing
welcome to the game.
Thank you. Thank you. On time as ever. Having to use my 3rd computer now to make this work, so that's just my middle class boast. But absolutely. So yeah, we have guard, and then what are they going into here? Tyranids, right? Triple Harriedale?
Yeah. So I'm gonna post a link to the lists in the chat, just so everybody
Beautiful.
can see these. There isn't a bot set up for this channel, so you won't be able to view the list anytime. But I'll put that in the chat. And again, we're playing today for Hammer Out Cancer. This is an event sponsored by Charity Hammer, which is run by Colin Sherman at his home. And it's a charity for to benefit one of the local community members, Vincent, Vince, who has a pretty serious cancer diagnosis. The proceeds of this will, of course, go to that, as well as the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. So every $30 that you donate does enter you into a raffle. In addition to donating for just being, an awesome person, you also get entered in this raffle. There's a ton of great prizes. John, have you heard what any of these prizes are?
Oh man, there is a fully pro-painted commission army. I did hear your amazing point earlier that it wasn't eBay pro-painted; it was literal pro-painted.
It's a real pro-painted.
Real pro-painted Necron army. Frontline Gaming has thrown in a couple of mats through the Chapter Tactics podcast. There's just a huge collection of orcs, like 30 or so boxes, which is good 500 points of orcs. And then just so many other cool things donated by the community for this great cause here. Seeing as I was on time and did all my research properly and everything's prepped to go, Tyler is playing the guard or the bugs.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so Tyler is playing the Jormungandr Tyranids. Zach is playing the pure Imperial Guard.
Pure Imperial Guard. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And then the white base guys, that's the Tyranid, right? So it looks like we are currently on 2 objectives. Oh, the guard's on 3 objectives?
So I think I don't think they've started. I think they're still finishing up deployment. It does take a little bit to deploy, like 100 guard models.
100 models, yeah, for sure. But this with being Scorched Earth, we're going to see lots of primary scoring because, hold 1 is 5 points. And in a 6 objective mission, it's going to be really cool to score here. But I'm really interested to see how the 3 Hierodules do. How did they do yesterday?
Oh man, they were fantastic. So I watched a couple of games of them. He had a relatively close game until it wasn't against Colin Sherman's White Scars.
Those are my favorite kind of games.
Yeah, well, it was great. You love to see it, right? And then he had just a blowout victory against Adeptus Mechanicus, where he just mercilessly crushed the Styges 8 army he was playing against. Man, these Hierodules are very, very tough.
So what's Zach have to do here with his guard to kind of really weather the storm and kind of maximize his points here? What secondaries did Zach take here?
So Zach has taken, let's see, Zach took Domination, Grind Them Down, and Raise the Banners. So it's going to be up to Zach to make sure that he can get on these objectives and stay on them to start raising banners. And then it'll be which he can get, I can definitely see he can get a couple of these ones, but it might be hard to get more than a couple on the first turn here. Um, the Tyranids being right across from the majority of that Tyranid army is going to be pretty rough. So we'll see how that plays out for him. Hopefully, pretty well. And then, of course, grind them down with the 9 different units of Rippers that Tyler has. It should be pretty easy to get that one, but there's a lot of small spots of Imperial Guard. Um, Tyler might be able to pick some of those up and kind of even the score.
So that's one danger of the Tyranid list here is lots and lots of little units where the Rippers do some amazing things, and we're going to see them be able to contest some objectives and kind of get in there really early. But at the same time, your little units of Rippers.
Exactly. It's 9 wounds of toughness 3. It's about the same as 10 guardsmen. Actually, maybe a little worse. So we'll see how that pays off for him, especially against all the multi-damage weapons. Those 2 manticores are going to be brutal in this mission. They don't require line of sight. They have the expert or the full payload tank ace rule, so that means that they get 3 flat damage. So every time they wound, they're killing a Ripper base.
Which is just super great, and especially on this table here. This is kind of one of the typical 9th edition tables we've been saying, where it's very terrain heavy. There's not huge amounts of lanes of fire. Kind of see on the right hand side of the table like a straight corridor, but with some great positioning. It's going to be really well. There's nowhere to hide from the guard, and then the guard's just going to have to do their best hiding their big guns.
That's right, John.
Man,
those 3 tank commanders are going to do work today, or they have to, I should say.
If those 3 tank commands have to do work today. They have to be like my little computer and not my big computer.
Yeah, that's right. So it looks like Imperial Guard have gotten the first turn, and so Zach is moving up some models.
It does look like he rolled high enough to get on that mid-table objective too. Pushing really hard to get the control more aspect of it, which is so hard against Tyranid armies sometimes with their speed and just numbers.
Right, exactly. And this Tyranid army has Tyranids, of course, have tons of movement tricks. So super easy for Tyler to really get in early on some of these objectives if Zach didn't take first turn. So we'll have to see how quickly he can get on there and plant some flags before the Tyranids come over and make sure that he can't anymore.
So the Tyranids come down and start eating flags for sure. What are some things Zach's got to do this first turn to really set up for the rest of the game?
Well, I'm not exactly well. So Zach's going to have to make sure that he is blocking off a large portion of the table, so that because Tyler does have quite a few deep striking units. Most notably, he's got some lictors, and he may have some Ripper Swarms. I'm not 100% sure if those have started on the table or not. I know traditionally he usually uses, although I don't think, and I'm checking the secondaries again, Tyler did not take, he did take Scramblers. Okay. I'm not sure if that was a great pick this game. I think Zach has the tools to really screen off his deployment zone with the 1 billion guardsman bodies that he has brought.
It does look like he's being fairly aggressive with his guardsmen, though, so that's going to be like really important. If we look at that bottom left corner of the table, if he moves that bottom squad of guardsmen beside the Wyverns too far, it's going to leave a huge gap open for a scramble score.
Yep, absolutely, and that could be lights out, but we'll see.
Then,
it looks like he is leaving a couple of guys back there, like maybe some characters or something like that. So that may help that out.
You said Tyler took Scramblers, and then what other
secondaries? Tyler took Engage on all fronts and thin their ranks as well.
So thin, definitely a good choice against kind of this body of guardsmen. How do you think he's going to do with Engage on all fronts? Is those deep striking lictors and hopefully some Ripper Swarms going to do some work for him?
Yeah, I think it's going to work out pretty good. Now, with Metabolic Overdrive, he is able to move those Rippers effectively twice. for one command point, and that'll really help him to get in some of those other table quarters. And the Sky Slasher swarms, of which he has 3, are very fast. So they can move 12. They have fly, so they ignore the models and terrain in their way, and that can make a really big difference.
While Danny and I might be commentating on the loser bracket here, the big winner this weekend, of course, is the Hammer Out Cancer thing we're working on today. Go to charityhammer.com, donate what you can. For every $30 you donate, you get entered into a raffle to win one of dozens of amazing prize.
Absolutely, give what you can. The charity appreciates it. Vince's family really appreciates it. They're having a hard. It's a tough time for them for sure. And yeah, what a great cause. Looks like Zach is getting some insanely good advance rolls. I think he's getting like 5 or 10 inch, 5 or 6 inch advance rolls. So he's really being able to push up in the center of that table.
With some
That could be,
really motivated guardsmen here, but then the issue we're running into
I guess so. Yeah.
is Tyranids, famously good at close combat. So we're moving super far up here, but things like the Hierodules are going to be able to just eat through a lot of what's running up.
Well, yeah, but he's got to make some tough choices here, whether or not he's going to target these guardsmen, or he's going to be, and he kind of has to, because if these guardsmen are able to kind of get in there and really kind of lock up a Hierodule, that could be bad news for Tyler.
And if we look, there's not a whole lot of screening in front of those Hierodules either. So he has to make, it's really forced Tyler to make some movements in the first turn that he might not want out of to.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And, Guard, with the amount of shooting they have, do have a pretty good shot at clearing out some of these screens pretty early, which will be rough for Tyler to be able to, which will be rough to come back from, especially if you can get like 30 conscripts into a Hierodule. It means that Hierodule is sitting in combat for the rest of the game.
What's your take on Tyler's deployment? He deployed pretty conservatively in that back corner there, not using the whole zone.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. I think that's really the only cover he has. Otherwise, he's just going to be wide out in the open. Zach doesn't appear to have as much fear, which may or may not have been a good choice. But in hindsight, it is a good choice because he got to go first.
Yeah, I think with that first turn roll from Zach here, and we're definitely seeing it in his play, he's being ultra aggressive with what he is, and he looks like he's trying to score big early. With those guys, of course, the turn is doing work. They're going to be able to take away a lot of his scoring units very quickly, so getting as many points in as early as possible here seems like a good play. And also just blocking out the board and really stopping deep strikers from coming in. One of the things about ninth with the smaller table size is it gives you a heck of a lot less areas that you can drop in on.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, it looks like there's some pockets down below where Tyler will be able to put stuff. We'll have to see though. Zach does have some of his own deep strikers. Oh wait, I'm sorry, my mistake. He does not.
And then, like we said earlier, that bottom left-hand corner of your screen here, beside the Best in Faction podcast, the text here, has been left wide open, which was something like deep striking, especially when you have scrambles, is a dangerous place to be in. Do you think he kind of just gave up those scrambles points to kind of collect the rest of the board and score his own secondaries, like raising banners and all that, grind him down domination?
Well, the last thing that Zach wants is for Tyler to deep strike down and maybe lock up those manticores, especially with a couple of lictors, which are pretty tough to screen out. I know if it were me, I'd probably try to at least throw one lictor in there and try and lock up those manticores if I possibly could, because that would be that's a huge swing.
Because Zach really needs those manticores to do work today. One lictor is going to shame those guys into not shooting for a while. Does Jormungandr have any nice strats or things that they can do with those lictors to make that 9-inch charge easier?
Well, lictors do reroll the charge when they come in from deep strike, so that does definitely help. but otherwise, I don't believe that there's a way that he can make it shorter. So, who do you guys think has this game in the bag? Let us know in the chat what your opinion is, and feel free to ask us whatever questions. We're happy to answer them to the best of our ability, anyway.
And just remember, just like Empire Strikes Back, the second one is better. This is stream 2. We also have stream 1 for Charity Hammer over on the Biff Pod chat. Or the Biff Pod Twitch, I should say. Holy heck.
No one wants to listen to Ennis this early in the morning. That's all I have to say.
Not even Ennis.
Yeah, not even Ennis. Of course, it's like 5 p.m. there, so he's fine.
And we want to thank you for joining us from all around the world, wherever you may be, whatever time it is. I'm powered by rays this early in the morning at Alaska time.
It's never too early for some 40K.
Never. And I have to say that I think we just saw some move from some guardsmen there. We now have guardsmen all the way across the table. We're just getting some insanely great advance rolls from Zach. And, you know, Danny, you love to see it. Those guardsmen now pretty much in the deployment zone.
Yeah, I know that Tyler probably doesn't love to see it.
You got to be indifferent to see it.
So it'll be interesting to see how and if Tyler is able to mitigate some of this. Man, these guardsmen are able to really screen off a huge amount of the table.
So if you're Tyler and you're seeing this kind of super aggressive movement with just some great advance rolls and kind of guardsmen all the way across the table turn 1, where's your mind at right now?
I think this is going to be a tough game for Tyler to come back from. I was thinking about the lists. So the problem with Tyler's list is that while it has some really great shooting and durability, I'm not sure if it has the amount of shots that he needs to get rid of all these guardsmen in any semblance of timeliness.
So we have some great
if
high strength shooting from the Hyrule, but it's kind of volume of shots you're talking about more, right?
Right, and he's got to lock up these guardsmen.
We're seeing more move on the right hand side here,
Oof,
where we have guardsmen just zooming up. And again, I think Tyler Zach even just deciding to kind of forego shooting with the most stuff this turn in order to just flood the board with bodies.
Oh man, I'm surprised by this move. So he's going back into the building on the upper right hand side. I think I might have tried to push even a little bit closer and just lock him in that deployment zone, make sure that they can't really get out, and they're stuck in that corner. Which, man, if you take advantage of these good advance rolls and that kind of stuff, you can really, as you can see, you can really kind of really limit where Tyler can go in this game.
So what do you think the benefit here of what do you think is going through Zach's mind here of kind of trying to hold that building in that main objective rather than try and say spread out and could maybe get your toe into that deployment zone objective of Zach's or of Tyler's even and kind of just staying in that mid-board role?
So Tyler or Zach has kind of put a ring around the edge of the objective marker with all those conscripts. Kind of blocking off any attempt that Tyler has to get a couple of those sky slashers getting aced by I believe Manticore. And that's tough. He really needed that unit. Zach is picking has good target priority. That's exactly the right unit to get rid of.
And we're seeing this in all of the objectives where Zach is just ringing around the objective, which is a great play, which Danny's pointed out here, means that he can't get troops to have a toe in. So even though, he's going to try and capture these objectives, he can't get near them due to the screening of the objective.
Right. I mean, I don't want to call the game on turn one, obviously, because
There's a lot of
never
things that can
count out.
happen.
Yeah, never count out these guys. But um, when you do put yourself in a corner like that, you can get locked in, especially with models that can't walk through walls. So um, we'll see. This is going to be a spicy game.
But if we're looking at the lists that Danny posted in the chat here, he still has tools. Like there's lictors that can drop down, and like, I think we're going to see those lictors as soon as possible in that bottom left-hand corner to really tie up those manticores. And taking that shooting away is going to do a lot.
Yeah, and even if the shooting isn't particularly effective, depending on what actually happens here, uh, the board control that the guard have, the board presence is very powerful. So hopefully, well, for Zach is hoping he can maintain that board presence for the rest of the game.
And as you pointed out there, the higher jewels cannot walk through walls, so they're real limited on how they can get out of that corner. If they even get out
There's
of
really
that
that
corner
one
at all.
gap.
There's the one gap. So I like Zach being a little defensive and holding that objective where he could have really just pinned them in and really stopped any kind of offense coming out of there.
For sure. It looks to me, and I'm looking at this. I'm seeing. Let's see. So Zach has got 4 objectives right now for sure. I don't think he has the one yet in the top left hand corner. But if those tanks keep working at it, I think they can remove those Ripper Swarms.
Right. He does have, looks like
Ooh,
one
yeah.
model with toe in, so he's definitely trying to remove those Ripper Swarms so he can hold that. And then if he can get those guys off, yeah, he holds 5, which
Yeah.
on turn 1 is just some great stuff here. So it looks like he's going to be getting 15 this turn. Where's your target priority if you are Tyler right now going into his turn 1?
Ooh. Kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. I would probably try and bank on the durability of the hybriduals and not shoot at the conscripts and try and get rid of the tanks. At this point in time, just because he's got to break out of the corner there, so he's got to push really hard this turn. And maybe even, yeah, you know what? I would actually be shooting the hybriduals at conscripts. You hate to see that. Nobody wants to waste time shooting at conscripts.
You hate to see it, but they have to clear those guys off those objectives.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So I think that's probably a likely scenario here. He's got to hit him really hard. So he's got a couple of broodlords that he can throw in there. The hybriduals have an okay number of attacks, only 4. They're very high quality attacks, so they'd be great if he could throw them into the Russes. But that's probably not going to happen this turn. So I think I concentrate on maybe I'd put one hybridule into that big squad there on the middle left, and then try and maybe take out a tank commander or at least wound one,
We see
and then
here
put all of my assault into them. Everything, like everything.
We see here one Lehman Russ opening up into a hybridule right now.
Yeah, and so one of the stratagems that Tyler has is encephalic deflection from the Maliceptor, which is way back in the corner back there, which gives a 6-inch aura, -1 strength to any ranged attacks targeting units within 6 inches of that model. So that'll help to protect them against plasma guns and the multi-meltas of the Lehman Russ Demolisher tanks, because Zach does have 3 of those in his army right now. And man, those things hit hard. 2d6 shots, strength 10, -3 AP. And then, yeah, 2d6 shots, strength 10, -3 AP, d6 damage. So, thank you, Falcon. Yes, I appreciate that. I am an aura of pure light.
And just like the
And
new
fury.
Death Guard Codex and Mortarion, my job is to turn off Danny's aura.
Just like your wife. man, good banter. So, um,
And again, folks, charityhammer.com. If you want to go and support, just send as little or as much as you can. All of these games and all of these people coming together today in order to help a charity and kind of help donate to a local player's family here who's really suffering right now. So we appreciate everyone who's donated,
oh,
everyone who's watching.
sorry,
No, you are good. What are we oohing?
brutal. Just took off the Maliceptor.
That is really big. Turn one
That's
here.
tough. That's one of the good tools that that Tyler did have to protect him against those multi-meltas. Yeah, he's got to take down those tank commanders as soon as possible now.
So that's great. Like if we looked at this just even turn one, where like a couple months ago we're talking about how the conscripts have to be the priority, and right now that's changed. That aura -1 being away is huge for his entire army for that buff there.
And that takes all those multi-damage weapons from and multi-damage and high AP value um, uh, to wounding from wounding on 5s to wounding on 4s now. And that's a big swing. So we'll have to see if Tyler can play his way out of this, out of the hole that he dug in his deployment zone.
So he got to get out of his cozy corner and do some things.
I
And
know.
this goes into a lot about kind of like mental strength when playing this game here, where he can't let that first turn really affect him. As we see kind of the higher duel coming out here, and just kind of how can he maximize his turns and kind of what he does. And it looks like we're going to be going for some tank commanders here with his higher duels.
All right, and so Tyler moving out here, yeah, and he's got to push. So everything that he can, is like, and try and get out of this logjam that's in the middle of the table. So even if he's throwing like 3 or 4 units of Ripper Swarms in there, those Brood Lords, whatever he can to try and take back some of these objectives, give himself some agency in this game to win. He's got to do it. He's just got to do it.
Luckily here, Scorched Earth is a hold 1 primary for a minimum. So it looks like regardless, he's going to be scoring 5 here. I'm really pushing for that 10. I don't think we're going to be getting a 15-point turn here from primary from Tyler, just because of how amazing those advance and move rolls were turn 1 for Zach.
Ooh, the board control aspect of guard is very powerful. So I like to see somebody utilizing that, because it's not, I don't think it's utilized quite as much as you would think it is. But yeah, also removing, I think 3 or 4 units of Ripper Swarms from the upper left-hand side or the upper right-hand side is a big deal for engage on all fronts.
For sure. I mean, looks like we're now going to be scoring engage this turn. We're going to start our Scrabbler's journey. But
I wouldn't count him out. I think he's got a 2-point engage turn on him this turn. So we'll see. And remember too, Zach does have the ability he can prevent Tyler from scoring. Like, not, I wouldn't say super easily, but definitely he's got it in him to get this to really limit the ability that Tyler has to hold his own objectives. I think for sure Zach is going to get 15 points on his turn. I think that's inevitable. It's going to be almost impossible to get rid of enough models in order to stop that from happening. It's going to happen.
You love to see it. And what's Tyler's plan here? What are we really trying to do? We're trying to break out into 3 table quarters. We're trying to take out some tank commanders. What's his plan going to be?
Well, it looks like he's pushing up with the. It looks like he's pushing up with the higher duels a bit, but he is playing a little bit cagey. With it looks like these Ripper Swarms here and the Hormigons. It doesn't look like they're pushing up super hard. He's kind of staying in that corner. It'll be interesting to see. I think he's still deciding on movement, of course. We'll have to see if he pushes out a little bit harder than he's doing right now. I think he really has to if he wants to stay in this game.
And we're going to see a lot of movement shenanigans. We're going to see some stuff. Danny's favorite thing of using the assault phase for some free extra movement here. I think this is going to need to be an extremely aggressive turn here from Tyler.
I totally agree. Now Tyler did make the promise to Colin Sherman that he was going to see him in the final round. So you want to see him. You want to see him make a Cinderella story, come back, and defeat the person that took him down in round 1.
And at the very
we'll
least,
have
he'll wave from across the room at Colin in the final round, of course, shown later today on the BiffPod Twitch channel.
Exactly.
Thankfully, it did not specify whether it was in game or in person.
Absolutely. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see how many of these conscripts Tyler can take out of the equation here.
On the plus side, conscript's not the toughest troop choice out there in the world.
Absolutely.
While we're super numerous here, morale's going to be a big thing here. We're hoping for a great psychic phase here from the Tyranid player, which, of course, I don't think the guard has the ability to really defend against.
He does have an astropath on it. I believe he has an astropath in his army, but I think that's it. He's got one astropath with psychic barrier.
We're coming up against 2 brood lords who can throw some hurt out there. And again, it's just we're trying to make the conscripts go away and really mitigate the tanks.
Yep. Yep, 2 brood lords. One of them has the resonance barb, so can cast a couple of powers. And then also, we had the Maliceptor, but old Mally's not on the table anymore, as you can clearly see.
Big F in chat for the Maliceptor.
Big Fs.
So, Danny, now that we are on day 3 of streaming here. You streamed a little yesterday. What were some highlights from yesterday?
Oh, man. I did get to watch, like I said, I got to watch a great game. Tyler versus Colin was a really fun game to watch. I also got to watch Peter with his Imperial Soup have a super close game against Paul Winter's Slanesh army. Paul, of course, then I commentated on Tyler versus Noah doing Admech versus Tyranids, and this Tyranid army just steamrolled the Admech hard. I think it was like an 85-17 win.
We have 1 tank removed from the table so far, so from great shooting. Any particular reason that Tyler chose that very back deployment zone 1 here?
I would assume that it was a tank commander, or maybe that was the one that he had line of sight to with more than one Hyrule, which is a big deal.
Something else as well that opens up another big hole in his deployment zone where he can drop a Lictor or some other deep strikers in.
Absolutely. So if Zach doesn't want that to happen, he's going to have to fill in the gap. Got to fill those gaps.
And with that kind of opening there, it's a direct line into the back of that other Lehman Russ. We see he's screened like left and right against chargers, but now that back is wide open. And Tyler's lists 2 Lictors, so there's all possibilities that he can tie up those 2 Manticores in the bottom left and the tank, or the Lehman Russ. They're all tanks. It's all tanks.
Absolutely, John. And it might have been to open up a pocket. I think that's a pretty smart move if that's what indeed happened. It might still be tough to fit a guy in there, maybe a 40mm base, but definitely not a whole Sky Slasher swarm or anything like that.
But I think that's
or a unit Ripper
one of
swarms.
the strengths of the Tyranid army is that Lictor, who has that small footprint, who can fit in pretty much anywhere that you make the smallest gap.
Yeah, I mean, you know what they say. A 40mm base is more than sufficient to fit into a small gap. So it's a common saying. I don't know if you've heard that before.
It's the perfect size.
It's the perfect size. Solid 40mm. Nobody's ever asked for more. It looks like we're getting some more conscripts removed, which is good. He's got to do that.
And again, going for that closest squad to clear it off, that's going to be the easiest one for him to move models on to try and get 10 points here out of primary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's going to be tough for Zach to deny Tyler from getting onto that objective, but whether or not he can remove enough models to stop him from being obsec on that is another story entirely.
It looks like we have our first Hierodule charging in, locking in right on the corner. I think he was trying to remove enough of those models to maybe like go around the backside here, but it's free assault movement.
That's right. It's the second movement phase, my friend. And now Tyler has to be careful. He really wants to stay in that -1 to hit aura from the Malanthrope, which has been increased to 6 inches in the most recent Imperial Armor compendium. And now he has moved into a second table quarter. It looks like he's probably still going to be stuck, though, to only 2 table quarters that he's in, so he's not going
Right.
to get
He wasn't
engaged on
able
all
to
fronts.
move that. Is that some Ripper Swarms there on that right hand side? Wasn't able to move them far enough to get in there. Hopefully, with some consolidation movement, we can get those guys into that third table quarter.
Right. Yeah, 100% correct there, John. I'm only seeing. Maybe I'm missing it. I'm not seeing where the other Broodlord is. So it'll be interesting to see where that guy pops up. I see the one on the tops on the like right against the board edge there, but I'm not seeing anyone else. And as the Falcon says, 2 birds in the hand is worth 40 millimeters. The famous saying. That's absolutely true.
That is absolutely true. You know, and I
Yeah,
hadn't heard
40
that
millimeters is worth 1 in the bush as well.
I
So
hadn't heard that before today, which explains my very low ranking at 40k, as I don't know all of these great metaphors.
right. And Tom Cruise, that's a quote from Tom Cruise in Roadhouse.
A famous comedy film from the 70s.
It is. Man,
Yeah.
what a funny movie.
Yeah, and Lucas Dork bringing up the Broodlord he thinks is tucked behind the Malanthrope, which honestly
Oh,
great position
okay.
for him.
I could see that. Maybe in between the Malanthrope and the Hierodule there. That makes sense.
And awesome. And right now, just trying to play whack-a-mole with those conscripts, trying to get as many off as possible. Really aiming for that free consolidation movement. With the right rolls from Tyler here, we can get engaged in all fronts. It really depends on how this combat's going to go.
Yeah, or at least take that objective off of him and make sure that he's failing morale.
Morale, not as big a deal in 9th edition, but it can still do a lot of work.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you all
And
for
we'll see
joining
if
us
Zach can
today.
roll that 1.
I want to thank you all for joining us today in this hybrid commentary stream. Falcon pointing out that we don't have a competitive podcast, so we don't know these truisms.
True. That is another truism.
That is.
In itself. See, we're going full meta circle here.
Yeah, I don't know what time zone Falcon is in, but he is just dispensing so much wisdom this morning. I think stats-wise in chat, he's like 80% wisdom.
20% skill. Yeah. So let's see. It looks like as far as scoring goes, I think that it's pretty easy to see here. Zach got domination on his turn. I believe he raised 2 banners. Tyler, Tyler killed 1 unit. Zach has got kill more for sure for grind them down. I think so. I think it's going to be, yeah. Tyler is really going to have to play out of a hole in this one.
Scoring being added in here now. but it looks like we have a Hyrule locked in combat here. So unless those conscripts move away, that guy's going to be safe for shooting this turn.
Now,
So it's,
Hyrule being a monster does get to shoot at the conscripts.
but I
So,
believe right now, and correct me if I'm probably wrong here, but he cannot be shot right now. So he has almost like a little conscript shield from being in combat with that squad. So if you
you love
are,
to see the conscript shield.
you love it, and if you're Zach, you almost have to try and pull away. But has he been wrapped in that right hand side there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he took morale. Um, maybe he rolled that one. It didn't look like anybody else died, so that's pretty nice.
So he has to make some interesting choices. Do you give up that objective to be able to take out that Hyrule?
Ooh, man, that's a spicy meatball.
Because even though he's put himself in really great position as of round one, it's something the turns can pull back really quickly with the wrong moves.
Yeah, and he's got to start moving that
Oh,
that
but
Hyrule train down the table. Sorry, what were you saying, John?
I was going to say, it looks like we have some conscripts being pulled in here. And he's using that movement to move closer to the small squad on the right hand side and away from the Hyrule. I think he's really banking on losing a couple of conscripts to morale so he can unlock the Hyrule from combat.
Oh, that'd be pretty smart. I'm not
Oh
100%
no,
sure.
I'm sorry. No, we're on turn 2 here now. He unlocked from the Hyrule, or he left one in base. No, what happened there? If we had a competitive podcast, we'd know. But
I wish, yeah,
there's some
we
movement
just don't
going on.
know.
We just don't know. We have some
I'm going to
rippers
ask
get.
Tyler. I do have a link directly to the source.
Oh my
We'll get
gosh!
back to you with some better moves here.
And we see more conscripts moving up here to really shore up that objective. I think he's just relying on that squad not surviving another round of combat here.
I think that's a smart play. You've gotta hedge your bets, double down, make sure that you are staying on an objective, and make sure that Tyler isn't able to take that. He does have those rippers in combat, so those guys are. Okay. So what happened is Zach paid 2 command points and used his once per game stratagem to auto pass morale on those conscripts.
Danny, you love to see it. That just guarantees that they are keeping that objective, really playing the army to the core of how it's supposed to be played, just kind of giving up on the conscript lives in order to make sure he gets that primary point from holding that objective and the secondary from domination here.
Yeah, it looks like it ended up being a contested objective, but it didn't matter because he still holds 3.
And then we see him moving back off the objective here to block off the board, trying to give those lictors no place to go. So it looks like the conscripts ran up, raised some banners, and then went home.
The best kind.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see if I'll be interested to see if conscripts are able to do actions in the new book. It looks like some of these chaff units that are they're less likely to be able to do some actions
I'm
as kind of the way that
shocked
I've seen the books
and
being written.
shocked and appalled that literally reanimated corpses can no longer raise flags or press buttons in the new Death Guard book.
But they can puke on objectives and make them infected.
And then we see falling back everywhere, really kind of covering the spread of that table, which is some great play. Guard, as we've seen turn 1, a very fast army that can kind of get where they need to go quickly. So we had some really great advancing and movement turn 1 to kind of raise some banners, and now we're falling back to kind of cover some of the gaps that were made after the turn 1.
It looks like Zach has measured out some distances here, and it looks like he's probably limited the places that a lictor will be able to pop up in his backfield. Which great move on his part to make sure that he's limiting where Tyler is able to deploy scramblers for his units.
If two birds in the hand are worth 40 millimeters, it looks like Zach took a bird away. That makes no sense, but that's okay.
Ooh. And nobody wants 20 millimeters.
No.
All right, reloading up the chat here. Like John said, only one of us can be on the internet at one time, as we're both in Alaska. So, kind of the rules of the game.
I'm actually on a rotary phone right now.
I didn't know rotary phones had dial-up. That's pretty amazing.
Again, guys, the reason we're here
So
today,
I'm interested to see where these.
Go ahead, Dana. I was just going to say, we're all here to hammer out cancer. CharityHammer.com
That's right.
has a full list of all the cool prizes and raffle support left to win. Every donation of $30 gets you an entry into that amazing competition where you can win a fully painted Necron army, a whole bunch of orcs. There's some great mats from Frontline Gaming, which you would have to assume going to be the new table size. No scissors required. But you were saying, Danny, you were interested
and
to see.
which is great. And it's also a great cause, not
Oh,
just for the
yeah.
prizes, but the proceeds are going to an amazing cause. So donate if you have some spare bucks. Everything is appreciated. It's all going to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research, and or to one of the local members of the community who has a pretty serious cancer diagnosis. So we are we're all playing for a good cause here today.
Looks like we're getting some guard shooting out here. What are the guard priority targets this turn?
Well, I think those Manticores try and pick up 2 more squads of Rippers. I think that's super important for Zach to maintain board presence. He's got to take out the OBSEC so that all of those 10-man infantry squads, just having one of them on an objective means he owns it forever. So he's really got to push for that.
And the score doesn't reflect it here, but of course, Tyler, 15 points for primary. Zach, 15 points
Zach
for primary.
got 15.
Yeah. From like again, he had some amazing move rolls, which saw him controlling 5 objectives after turn 1.
Amazing board presence in that army. You couldn't ask for better.
It looks like we lost 1 Ripper Swarm from the base in the ruins on that right-hand side there. But still 2 bases remaining.
Dang. I assume that's from a... Well, if he... it's pretty epic if that is all that one Manticore did. Those Manticores, of course, are full payload Manticores, which means that basically every single wound that he gets through is going to be a dead Ripper Swarm. So that's a lot of pain right there. And it does look like he was able to move out of combat with the Hierodule and the Rippers, so he's able to shoot them.
So there's a big CP investment on those guardsmen there, or those conscripts there, to pass morale, get out of that combat there, or was that just bad positioning from the Rippers so they couldn't wrap them?
Well, Tyler did tell me he is he's very tired.
You love to see it.
He's only got about 4 hours of sleep. So they've just been playing up a storm over there. So he's trying. So he did think that maybe he could have wrapped them, but chose or wasn't unable to. Nobody knows anything about birds except for maybe the CIA, because they are not real.
You can't know about things that don't exist, Happy Grunt.
Right. We can only imagine what it would be like. So,
The birds you think you see, are just a psychosis.
or government drones, one of those two things.
You're you're either insane or the government's watching you at all times.
Definitely not both of those things.
It can only ever be one there.
Oh man. Yeah, for some reason bagged milk exists. Milk bagged niner. Um man, what a name.
What a great name. You guys in chat making it really hard for us to stick to the rules of avoiding minor jokes.
Yeah, the in jokes are tough. Maybe we just have everybody in here who's in. Yeah.
Yeah.
God
Hashtag
darn.
small bloodstream.
Oh.
Benny,
Yeah,
you love to see it. Small blood chat, this stream.
just rearing its really ugly head everywhere.
The secret shame of the 40k world.
Oh.
Guard continue to do what they do best and just removing models from the table.
Oh, there goes the Hyrule.
Yep, we see Zach here, and that's a great play to have those conscripts just go out of combat, and then just make that Hyrule obviously like target number 1 for those Leman Russ. And that leaves 2 Hyrules left here. We're still holding the deployment zone objective, and I really want to see kind of what Tyler's going to do turn 2. Are we going to do, Danny, do you see him uber aggressively trying to drop those lictors in and start getting some points, maybe trading some lictors for some points?
Man, he's got to do something here. Here, I will post the list, Happy Grunt, in the chat. I'll post the links to those, so you'll be able to see those. Yeah, he's got to be pretty aggressive with their placement. If he's not, he's just going to be starved of points. Zach is already up by a pretty significant margin, I think, or will be. Losing that Hyrule is a big blow. That's another unit that that's another unit that really has the tools to actually do the work to make sure that Tyler can stay in this game. And getting rid of those is a big deal. I'm really surprised. Those things are insanely tough. So let me tell you a little bit about the Hyrule. So these things are 18 wounds, toughness 8. They have a 2+ armor save base. Now, since they are Jormungandr, they do get light cover all the time unless they advance or declare a charge move. So that means they have a 1+ save, which is really tough to get through. In addition, being close to that Malanthrope means that they're a -1 to hit, and the guard ballistic skill, famously not great.
And we have another Hyrule off the table here at this point here for guard shooting.
Jeez.
This is some insanely good shooting from guard.
Ooh.
And you hate to call it, and you don't want to call it early, but those are 2 massive losses turn 2. Danny, if you were in Tyler's shoes, what are you doing at this point here to maximize your game?
Man, that's tough. I think I'm sticking that other Hyrule out there. Just try and keep it real with that guy. Man, there must have been some really bad dice rolls there. It looks like one of them got angry and exploded as well.
Oh, and that is not what you want to see with a bunched up deployment zone here.
Right. That's tough. That's really tough. Yeah, and so that tank commander in the middle of the table, even though it's behind obscuring terrain, since these Hyrules are 18 wounds, it can see right through the windows in that building to shoot at them. Man, that's tough. That's really tough.
Real big turn for the guard there. We still have conscripts kind of filling out the board, and looks like we still have a couple places for lictors to come down at. But at this point, they're like really. We're trying to maximize the points we're getting out of the game here. It looks like, and we're going to see this last Hyrule really try and move up and make an impact. But that small collection of models in that top right-hand corner is going to have to really zoom out and try and score some engage points and try and really force some objective holding.
Yeah, I think in my mind, what I see happening on this next turn
We have some
God,
move,
just
move,
to
move
try and
from the
score something, right?
we have some move from the conscripts here, and it looks like Zach's doing the same trick he did on the right hand side, where we're screening off the objective. So even if Tyler is able to move out, he won't be able to like make any meaningful impact on that objective.
So I think if it's me, I'm gonna try and shoot. Um, I think I'm gonna try and maybe shoot that broodlord over to the conscript squad and just kind of hide behind that building if I can, maybe, just to score just to score some engage points. I'm not sure if Tyler can put a lictor in the very bottom corner on the left hand side, but he could get engaged on all fronts just to score some points. Um, Man, that is punishing. I can't believe he lost 2 Hyrule. That is crazy. There
I
must
think
have been some super hot dice there.
that's some combination of some really great dice on Zach's side and some really bad dice on Tyler's side. I mean, you hate to blame him, but
Yeah.
statistically, there's no way 2 Hyrules should be dying in one turn.
Right, exactly. Um, Not from the amount of firepower that I saw, because like the one thing to think about, those manticores are -2 AP, so those Hyrules are still getting a 3-up save against their shots. And there is some D6 damage from the there is some D6 damage going on from the Demolisher cannons, but still, you're getting a 4-up save versus those. Now, those multi-meltas are -4 AP, and those might be the true killer. So if you roll hot on those, that could be lights out on one of those Hyrules.
We are seeing the power of the new multi melta, and then just again the variability of dice games.
Yeah, that's true. It just happens sometimes, especially with dice rolls like a 4. My experience has been that 4s either like pop off super hot or they're super cold. Like there's not really. I never seem to roll quite average with a 4+.
Of course, one of our favorite stories from Las Vegas Open is one of our friends complaining bitterly after losing a game that he only made 50% of his 4+ saves.
Yeah, that lucky bastard. uh we love you, Micah. Anyway, so um uh
Here we have a lictor trying to come in, it looks like. No?
he's trying. He's doing his best.
So Mike, with the Deep Striker's coming in at the end of the movement phase, which means he's still playing super conservatively and kind of like hiding behind that building. It looks like he's forced to drop the lictor in his own deployment zone.
Oh,
Which just goes to show there's some amazing screening, even, holy cow, streaming and screaming. There's some amazing screening going on from that guard there. And just some great play from Zach of just moving turn 1 to grab as many objectives and plant as many banners as he can, but then remembering to retreat to kind of zone off his board to make sure those lictors have 0 choices to go in. And as we can see on the right hand side, right beside that ruin, that is where that lictor has had to come in. And that is where those rippers are coming in too. Danny's at a smart play to pull down all of his deep strikers right now. Looks like he's going to make a play against those conscripts on that objective.
I mean, he's got to try. If he can hold 2 objectives, I think that's a pretty good swing for him. What I am really surprised by is that he is keeping his Malanthrope kind of out front there. I think that might be a pretty big mistake, because all you have to do is get rid of those 2 Ripper swarms, and you can start targeting that character. So that's pretty harsh.
Looks like we're going for some engage points this turn. We have another Ripper Swarm coming in that top left-hand corner. And I'm looking for some movement shenanigans from the Lictor to get the third quadrant for engage in all fronts.
Yeah.
Now, what's important to see at this stage of the game, I don't think Scramblers is going to be an option. Just the way that rule
No.
is, that Lictor.
That backfield is too screened out.
Yep.
And that's one of the things about Scramblers, right? It is probably not a great idea to try and go for scramblers against against an army with with more than 100 models.
Now, do you think there was some kind of confidence of the fact that because he is a lictor on like a small-ish base and leaving not that big a footprint, that he could kind of get around and find some gaps in there?
You can never count on your opponent to make mistakes. Um, uh, but if like so I would never plan on my opponent to leave me a hole for that stuff, especially with a high model count army. Um, that's just my personal take. I know it's easy for Tyranids to do that one, but I would never count on my opponent being foolish enough to make that happen. Now maybe Tyler's move here that he's planning on doing is to try and get more than one unit onto that objective, and that would help to block for that Malanthrope. But we'll see if that pays off for him.
If you're Tyler this turn and you've lost your 2 Heraldals, what is your target for that final Heraldal? Are you trying to clear things off of objectives? Are you trying to take out tanks? What's the play?
He's got to try and kill the tank commander in the lower right hand corner. Yeah, lower right hand corner. I was right. He'll probably pay the command points to give him plus 1 damage so that he's flat damage 3. So 12 shots, strength 8, hitting on 3s. It's it's not a terrible chance to make that happen. So it looks like he is still going to do some moves, which I think is he may have just been like, here, I'm going to place these models here just to see where everything will go, and then I'll actually put them down after I make my movement, which I think is a pretty fair move to have happen for Zach to let happen. So, and he is moving that Broodlord out. He absolutely has to do a move like that. Unfortunately, the state of the game, he's got no choice.
And I think those pre-drops for his reserves are one of those great examples of great conversations with your opponent. It's not really going to change it's not going to change how he would have played that turn, placing those things down. He just kind of needed to see whereabouts they were going to go.
Right, and where he could go, most importantly.
We also have that last Hyrdle moving out into the killing floor. And then those Ripper Swarms are still hanging out in that backfield to hold on to that objective.
Right.
We have that second Broodlord, it looks like, heading onto the left-hand side.
I'm trying to figure out where the first one is. Oh, I see him. Okay, he's in the building. Okay, cool. He's where we kind of thought he was.
And it looks like we're going to be making a play to clear some conscripts off of objectives. And I think utilize the small building on the top left for cover. With good enough charge rolls, those guys can hide behind there and maybe mitigate some of the damage. Now, they're still going to be Manticore bait a little bit, but it's going to be their best chance to really hold on and stop that 15-point turn 3 from Zach. Man, I'm going to get these right.
It's totally fine. Tyler the Tyranid Wrangler, as he was as we came up with the nickname for him because of his awesome hat.
And then Zach the Zoomy Guardsman. We got a mnemonic device now.
Perfect. Scorchers is tough too. So this is a mission where you can take a secondary. I've never seen anybody actually take this one where you can destroy your opponent's objective markers.
Yeah, this the mission-specific secondary is Raise, which is at the end of the battle. A player scores 6 victory points if 1 objective marker was removed from the battlefield, and 12 victory points if 2 objective markers were so removed. Do you think that would have helped either player in this game?
No.
Because it really limits your primary score.
Point blank. Yeah.
I know it's like a control 1, control 2, control more. But in a 6 objective game, removing a third of those objectives makes it really hard to maximize your primary.
Yeah, I just think that is that basically makes your game plan worse. I don't understand why you would want to take that one. Maybe for thematic
Sounds
reasons.
BA. It's like, did you win the game? No, but I scorched the earth. So are we going to see those
It's not
Rippers?
just a it's not just a procedure at a hairstylist. It's also
Looks
it's
like we
also
got
a mission.
looks like we got some charges coming in too. Do you see that unit in the top left hand side making that charge as well and trying to kind of get in there, or are they just going to hang out and really try and get those engage points?
Oh, the Sky Slashers in the
The Sky
upper left hand
Slashers, yeah,
side.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they stay there. I don't think they try and make it in. But we'll see. I mean, the extra attacks would not be the worst.
I mean, the extra attacks wouldn't be the worst to kind of clear off that objective, and then the free movement. And we're still pretty bunched up there if we have like that squad on the left hand side and the squad around the objective. So with the right length of charge, they can consolidate into that other unit and really get some kind of protection from the Manticores there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I'm interested to see exactly how many models die, um, or how many models actually make it into combat from all the deep strikes that happen this turn. I mean, those conscripts they're gonna take some casualties. Let's put it that way.
So what are some units, any that have to make the charge this turn?
Ooh, okay. So the Broodlord on the left hand side absolutely has to make it into that combat in order to make a tent. Um, the Ripper Swarms don't really care. The Malanthrope would definitely help. Now, if he does pop off and a model is killed or a unit is killed within 1 inch of him, he does get a lieutenant aura, more or less. So he gets to give a reroll ones to wound aura for units within, I believe, 6 inches of him, which is pretty useful, especially for that hybrid duel. Rerolling ones to wound on those big guns is pretty nasty. And then the Broodlord over there against the conscripts on the upper left-hand side, that's going to be important too, and those Hormagaunts. So he's got like a bunch of really important charges to make this turn if he
And I
wants to
think
make things
we
happen.
really need to see the Lictor make that charge too. It is a re-rollable one, so it is one of the more reliable charges this turn, but purely on a way to kind of score some engage points that Lictor needs to make it in.
And you're looking at about a 40% chance of a re-rollable 9-inch charge, I believe. So not great, but it's better than nothing.
Just checking in with the chat here. Someone asked, is Zach making the card look really good or just really bad rolls? Which I kind of gave the best answer I could with yes.
Yep. His damage rolls must have been fire. That's kind of what I'm thinking on those D6 damage weapons.
Oh,
I
looks
guess
like that first squad did make it into combat with those conscripts.
Woohoo! That's great.
What we're seeing here is some great play from an assault army here. If you look at it, he's moving the guys in. Nothing is based so far, so he's going to really maximize that extra 3 inches of consolidation movement. And we also still have to
Yes.
clear lane for that Broodlord to get into. And it looks like the Broodlord makes it in. So this was a major call. Tyler really needed these 2 charges to go off. And also the Sky Slasher swarms are in there. And so those conscripts are going to be in a world of
Nice.
trouble. Those are a really big move. And if we see with the Sky Slashers, they also didn't base, so they can move around. Oh, there we go. He's moving him a little bit there to make some things, and we're going to see some great free movement from the second movement phase here.
And the of course, Hormagaunts famously have a 6-inch pylon and consolidation move, so all of those guys are probably going to be making it into combat, which is a big deal. That's a lot of strength 3 attacks.
That's a lot. Hopefully, Zach has left some command points for interrupt here. The way I see this happening on the top left-hand corner is that Sky Slasher swarm going first so they can move and make more room for the Hormagaunts. So Tyler's really going to want to, or sorry, Zach's really going to want to jump in and interrupt to get rid of, or try and get rid of as many of those Hormagaunts as possible before they can get
Right.
around.
Absolutely.
We also have another unit of Rippers on that right-hand side who jumped down from the building top to kind of come and make it in against this conscripts on that right-hand side objective.
He's just nailing these 9-inch charges. I'm shocked.
I really want one of our prizes now available at charityhammer.com for every $30 donation to be the dice from this game. Because we've seen some amazing damage rolls, we've seen some amazing charge rolls, and some amazing advances.
For sure, John. For sure. I definitely agree with that.
And what's super nice to see as well, Tyler here, obviously a super disappointing turn two so far, losing 2 of those higher duels, is still making some really great plays and isn't letting that affect him. He's trying to maximize as much as he can get in. And I think by the end of this turn, we're going to see him on 3 objectives, which is you love to see it.
You absolutely do.
Which I was told is someone else's catchphrase, but that's okay. Much like all of our other entertainment, Danny and I steal lots.
I wouldn't say that's our signature trademark move, but that's our signature trademark move.
Stealing things, yes.
Unadulterated theft.
Unadulterated theft. And to steal a victory here, Tyler has to be super aggressive, and he's made some great plays and some great charges this turn.
I'm very proud of him.
You know what else you love to see is only removing 3 or 4 dice from that giant pile that just got rolled.
Absolutely. That is awesome. I think the Hyrule shot at the guardsman.
But that is a lot of ones that just got rolled.
To wound. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to clarify, I would like Zach's dice to be available on charityhammer.com. Donate $30 for your prize.
Specifically. Yeah. Oh, man.
Happy Grunt saying that's basically game. I wouldn't even say that. There's still a lot to go here, and the way that Tyler has made some of these charges and pulled some of the things out, he has an uphill struggle, but there's always a path.
There's like they there's always a chance, right? I'm not sure that he has a huge path to victory here, but he has one. So we'll see if he can pull that off.
And as we're talking about pulling off all of those conscripts coming off the table, Tyranids in victory against low toughness things, you got to see it. I check in with chat. Seth, oh man, Danny's laugh warms the soul. And it sure does.
It sure keeps me hot enough. I sweat all the time.
It's purely the laugh. That's all that does it. If you were miserable, you'd be way less moist.
Yeah, that's true. I'd be a lot colder. Oof.
And there we see some great consolidation and kind of moving around, really locking those guys in, forcing Zach to have to, if he wants to be able to shoot that blob up there, he's going to have to spend some CP to desperate breakout.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Yes, moistness does equal happiness. I was told that a long time ago. But this is a family-friendly show, so we're not gonna dig too deep into that.
I've used the word heck a whole ton. Best behavior, John. Oh, and those conscripts being picked up on the right-hand side too?
I believe, yeah, that the Broodlord's probably going to kill probably 4 of them at least. The Malanthrope
that
might
was
even
actually
kill a
from
couple.
the Malanthrope killing something, so I think that activates his aura now.
All right. So, just to kind of reiterate what's happening here, it's been a minute. If you're just joining us, we have Tyler playing Jormungandr Tyranids with it was a triple barbed Hyrule list with 1,000,000 Ripper Swarms versus Zach playing pure Imperial Guard. Zach, of course, having a great border control army along with some good guard firepower. And Tyler bringing the pain with these 3 huge barbed Hyrules.
Fresh
now it looks
off
like
of
some
their Imperial armor buff.
right, yeah, off their tour. They really managed to stick around most of the time, just not in this game. Those tank commanders really did work on them. I believe those multi-meltas went ham and just removed 2 of them on the second turn. This is turn 2, of course. So we'll get an update of score at the end of this battle round from Tyler. He'll be entering those points. Zach, of course, scored a 15-point primary as he was on 5 objectives at the start of his turn. Yeah. Oh no, 4 or no 3 actually. I think 2 of them were contested, is what Tyler was telling me.
Yeah.
So, but still
enough,
probably a 15-point turn.
Still enough to control more. Some great move rolls from the guard turn 1, which put them all over the board. They planted some standards, and then turn 2 ran back and were able to deep strike block. So the lictors had to come in on that right hand side of the screen. Turn 2 shooting from Zach, he was able to take out 2 barbed Tyranids in 1 turn, which statistically is very unlikely, but has really put Tyler's back up against a wall here, and that's why we're seeing such kind of aggressive charging and just kind of trying to get rid of as many conscripts as possible.
Absolutely. And he's going to have to. I mean, with 60 conscripts on the table, just a veritable horde of bodies. You got to get through that meat mountain in order to get to the juicy center that is the tank commanders and double full payload manticores that you can see in the bottom of the table. Zach going first was a big deal. He was really able to block off the board, get into Tyler's deployments on the very first turn with some good advance rolls.
And of course, Tyler deployed entirely boxed up in that top right-hand corner. In hindsight, Danny, would you have deployed a little less defensively with this list?
I think he needs to spread out and just trust in the durability of his models. But of course, that turned out to not be the case on turn 2.
Oh, yeah. Here I am talking about maybe spreading out more as we see 2 giant models just vaporized by New Malta.
Absolutely. And those tank commanders really do work against big models with all the multi-damage weapons that they have.
And here we see him removing some more cultists. Oh, sorry, cultists. we're talking
They're
about
Imperial cultists.
Imperial
We'll
cultists. Yeah, conscripts. Hopefully that was from the Broodlord attack. And if we see what he did there and the way he removed those conscripts, it's really limiting how many Hormagames can get in there and fight. Now, of course, they still have a 6-inch consolidate, so there's a lot they can do. But the way he removed is almost trying to kind of get them out of combat there.
Yeah, I wonder. I kind of wonder if. Oh, it looks like there is just some Ripper swarms up on that that I couldn't see before. I think on that
like
upper left-hand objective.
Yeah, and that looks like that's it for that conscript squad.
Ooh, lights out.
Which makes
I'm wondering if he's going to use fight twice at all, because that's definitely a good strategy that that Tyranids have here.
The only issue we're going to run into now is if we look at that Broodlord is right in front of a battle cannon.
It's true, but he's going to have to move that tank closer to the Broodlord. So that, because right now that tank commander is probably closer to the 2 Ripper swarms in combat next to the Malanthrope in order to shoot at that Broodlord, because the Broodlord is still within 3 inches of a unit with 3 or more models.
Now, does he want to move that tank commander and possibly expose himself to that Hyrule on that right-hand side there? Or is he just going to try to ignore that Broodlord and just kind of run away on chaff?
Ooh. I think he tries to ace the Broodlord, because if he doesn't kill that Broodlord this turn, I think the Broodlord comes in and goes to work on that tank commander, and that's bad news. Because of course Broodlords, famously being gene stealers, can advance and charge. So I think it advances behind the wall of the upper right hand L ruin and the center of the table, and just charges through the wall and gets that tank commander. Even if he doesn't kill it, there's still a good chance that he does enough damage to really cripple him and remove the ability for him to kill that last barbed hybrid duel that's alive.
In chat here, Seth's asking, what ability do you think the Nids have to get to those manticores?
Anymore? 0.
0.
Unfortunately.
At the start of the game, we were talking about maybe lictors jumping in and really tying them up. But Zach did such a good job screening and knowing kind of where about in the game it was. that he was able to kind of leave pockets of hope open turn 1 and then turn 2 come back and really cover it out. So we saw everything have to drop pretty much in its own deployment zone on that right hand side.
Yeah, and some great assault moves by Tyler this turn for sure. He did so good.
And it's really pulling him back. And there's difficult choices now for Zach. Is he going to use one of those Manticores to take out the Hormoguns in the top left so that he can just single shot the Broodlord? Are we going to focus more on the guys holding the home objective? What are his target priorities this turn?
Well, I think Zach tries to just remove whatever he can from whatever big targets he has. I don't know necessarily that he goes after the Hybridule. We'll see. It very well could be his target. A dangerous move there. Oh, and you can see the Broodlord jumped in and then used a stratagem to, because Tyranids have a stratagem after it fights. If there's no enemy units within an inch, they can do another move. So he moved back behind those Ripper swarms that Deep struck in to give himself some protection. That was clutch.
And some really great plays coming out here from Tyler. We see the conscripts moving up, abandoning that objective to try and kind of clear off this swarm. Because if he didn't deal with those 3 units up there, I was going to be in a world of hurt on that left-hand side of the table. Tyranids just
Absolutely.
as fast.
Yeah. He's trying his hardest. Tyler is absolutely trying his hardest to pull out as many points as he possibly can and claw his way back into this game.
And I think we said earlier, this is some great play here. We have some people in chat trying to call the game already, but Tyler has definitely not given up. And we're seeing some amazing payoffs right here. I think you're right in the fact that Zach ignores the Hierodule this turn. At most, it takes up maybe 1 tank next turn. But really focusing on getting rid of any scoring that Tyler has, especially with engaging all fronts. You want to take away all of the ability to score from that.
Absolutely. So it looks like we just got a score update. So we've got Tyler with 5 primary, 2 secondary points, and Zach with 15 primary, 12 secondary. So we've got a total of 27-7. 20-point deficit is really hard to make up.
But if we look at this here, Zach is currently holding 3 objectives, and Tyler holding 3. So what's really going to be able to make this game happen for Tyler is going to be removing things from that objective and really maximizing his primary.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally agree. And we all know, and Zach definitely has good target priority. We saw that a little bit earlier.
So who are the Manticore shooting at this turn, Danny?
I think the Manticores try and remove some. The Manticores try and remove some of the Ripper swarms. Maybe even to do some character targeting. I think that's probably pretty solid.
And as we can see, there's been a Mechanicus/Necron invasion in chat while we have some bots jump in there, which is great.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Man, I wish I had admin privileges in this channel.
But no one buy followers. Danny and I will follow you for far less than they would charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's some great shooting coming on.
If you ask nicely, we'll just jump right in there.
We have some Rippers being removed here by Tyler. And it looks like that Malmthrope is not in combat either, which means he's going to be in for a bad time.
Yeah, that's going to be painful. We'll see if he can pick up that Malmthrope. That might not be as easy as you would think.
What are some of the tools that Malmthrope has that makes that challenging to remove?
Well, so he is a natural -1 to hit, and he's toughness 5, and I believe he has a 3 up.
And he just died.
Okay, never mind. So
a little harder.
And he's gone.
And again, Colin, if you're listening, Zach's Dice. Now, the best, most wanted prize at charityhammer.com, where you can donate up to any amount you want, but for every $30 you donate, you get entered into the prize pool to be won.
Yeah. Man, Every $30 gets you access to that prize pool that you donate. Prize pool is full of great stuff. A for real pro painted Necron army, like not eBay pro painted. We're talking real pro painted, with a bunch of Wraiths, a Tesseract Vaults. I'm sorry. Um, a couple of Ghost Arcs, a bunch of Warriors, some Scarabs. It's a great army. Definitely check it out. That's the big grand prize. There's also a big Orc lot. Like John said, 30 boxes of Orcs, about 500 points worth of
Some
models.
great combat patrol orcs right there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, check out those prizes, and most importantly, this is going to a great cause. And this is charityhammer.com or paypal.me/charityhammer. And you can donate. These all proceeds to this are going to the family of Vince Price, who's a local gamer for the Washington area, who has a pretty serious cancer diagnosis, and also the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. So go ahead and donate if you can. Every donation counts. Well, Seth, you got to donate. We got Mad Dog Dangley on here, which is Seth from the Dangley Boys podcast. He's saying, "Give me them orcs." Got to donate, Seth.
Yep. For every $30 that Seth donates, he too could save on shipping.
That's right.
As I believe that Seth and those Dangly boys donated those orcs.
Oh no, it was donated by a local gamer in the Washington area, I believe.
Even better.
Yeah.
So there's multiple orc piles, so you could get a 750 point orc army on there.
Heck yeah.
Looks like we're taking some shots here from that Lehman Russ at the Broodlord. Because now that all of those units have been removed on the right-hand side, they're able to shoot at the Broodlord.
Yep. That's tough. I think that's the end of the Broodlord, but we'll see.
Maybe not. And it looks like the dice came through for Tyler here. And that Broodlord is still there.
Oh man, that's spicy.
Let's see if it can weather another round of fire. And of course, that Broodlord is a huge combat threat to that tank. So whereas those Sky Slashers and those Hormigons are going to be able to take out those conscripts, that Broodlord is going to be zeroing in on that Lehman Russ in the center. So he needs to get rid of that character.
Yeah, and I'm not sure because I can't see super well on the mat. Is there anything shielding that tank from the barbed hybrid duel in combat in the lower right hand side?
There is not, no. So that's going to be prime target because there's nothing in combat with that tank down there. So
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's guardsmen in the way. Because if that hybrid duel makes it into combat with that tank, he'll flip that thing right over.
there is some guardsmen on that objective. And it's really hard to tell you, but I think he has a path through. So I would be, yeah, I think there's a path through to get that. So that hybrid duel is going to be zeroing in for that Lehman Russ down there.
Oh man, love
Seth,
this comment here.
Yeah.
So looking at the player cam, I am fairly certain if you combined Zach's beard with Tyler's hair, you basically get ZZ Top, along with the hat.
Then you clone him 2 more times.
And you have a band. You got yourself a band going. Or just a sharp dressed man. I don't know. One of those two things.
I think super important point out here that Broodlord is still there. So it looks like maybe Zach's dice all stayed in round 1, so no longer prizes.
So the hero Broodlord stands defiant versus the tyrannical Lehman Russ tanks.
So far.
So far. Correct. So far. Good point.
Because I think that is the only real target that he needs to get rid of this turn.
Yeah, he's trying so hard.
Because if that Broodlord, and like we always talk about, the assault phase being, oh, and there's that third Hyrule. What is your take on
Oof.
that kind of that focus on that Hyrule for shooting?
Well, I mean, it's the only, besides a Broodlord, it's really the only threat that that Tyler has versus the Lehman Russ tanks. Once that's gone, then that means all the tough stuff is out of his army.
I see some plays
And
here
that's
though from those units on the right hand side coming through to try and score some engage, try and take out some cultists, maybe tie up that Lehman Russ so it can't shoot at the Broodlord. That Broodlord has to survive in order for Tyler to have a chance here.
Yeah, I really agree, John. It's really important for that Broodlord to make it. Or hero Broodlord, anyway.
Hero Broodlord.
Cowardly Broodlord went back behind those Ripper Swarms.
Is there still a second Broodlord on that table there?
Yeah. So the second Broodlord is on the upper right-hand side, behind the Rippers, behind the L. He's orange with the black carapace.
Oh yeah, I see him now here. So there's a couple paths here because these Broodlords are now going to be hyper aggressive, and really work on taking out those Lehman Russes, which they can
Yeah, he
do.
literally has no choice. He's got to push.
It looks like some rapid firing conscript. Oh, yep, taking out those Homer guns.
Ouch. Yeah, and those guard squads with first rank fire, second rank fire can do some work against some toughness 3 models. Looks like they removed the sky slashers as well.
The important part here, of course, is now those 3 Homer guns are not on those objectives. Are we going to see an almost a suicide charge come in to try and tie up that Broodlord so it can't charge the Lehman Russ?
It would be a pretty slick move if he did that. We'll see if he can make it happen. Looks like there's one Hormigaunt on the objective.
So he's definitely going to have to move in
Also,
and try and remove those guys. Oh, nope, there was one Homer
Yeah.
gun on the objective.
Oh,
So what I see happening here is those 2 guard squads charging that Broodlord to try and tie him up so he cannot charge that Lehman Russ.
yeah, and that'll get them onto the objective too. That's kind of a big deal.
Because as good as a Broodlord is, it cannot take out 2 guard squads.
Nope, it just doesn't have the attacks.
I still see the Broodlord on the right-hand side making a play for that objective and that tank. But that tank commander in the center is going to hold steady there and really just be a major threat to anything on the table. Those windows doing work for that tank commander.
Yeah, absolutely. That's tough.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Tyler does have 2 lictors, and then 2 squads of or 2 squads of Rippers there behind that wall. So he does have like 4 units that he can kind of move around with and try and get some stuff going. We'll see if he can leverage those to make some good plays here.
So there is multiple charge options, and thankfully they're all protected by that L. So even if Zach wanted to Overwatch, he's not going to be able to.
That's a tough Overwatch to make through a wall. No smart missile systems in the Imperial Guard side.
Just the dumb missile systems of the Manticore. Manticore has done a ton of work. Well, like the Lehman Russ have done like the lion's share of removing the big threats. The Manticores on that bottom table edge there have done all of the work in just removing Tyler's ability to score.
Right.
I think I heard Danny agreeing with me before the moose that runs Alaskan internet cut out for a second.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was agreeing with you.
Heck yeah, you were.
For once.
Yes.
I did it.
I do want to point out there are two charity Hammer Cancer streams here. This, the A Show on Can Hammer TV, and also on the BiffPad Twitch channel, where they only have 6 more viewers than us, which I think goes to show just how great this game is and how great you are, Danny.
Oh, I'm not that conceited. It is definitely not me.
I'm not conceited enough to say it was me, so perfect, you did.
Yeah, that
So
game is on the winners side. We've got oh no, this is the second losers game bracket here that we have going on. This is Paul versus Chuck. So Slanesh Demons versus Sisters of Battle.
that
Um,
Broodlord moving around towards the garden away from that Lehman Russ. What's your take on that? Are we just trying to hold objectives?
Interesting choice. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Because
It very well could.
he's almost hiding from the Lehman Russ in that top left-hand corner there, but we still have those Manticores, and a character without a protection in front of Manticores is not a character for very long.
No, those could quite easily unman him. I guess the Broodlord isn't a man though, so
They can unbeast him.
I don't know. Unmake him. How about that?
Perfect.
There you go.
Broodlords aren't real.
We've
They're the
done it.
birds of Warhammer. So we're seeing that movement around there. Like I said, a little surprised that he's doing that there. Again, trying to stay out of that Lehman Russ point of view. And then I think he's talking that out there, saying what his intention is. But also that first rank fire, second rank fire is going to be real dangerous. Even though it's little flashlights, enough flashlights are going to be really hard. And
I mean, they're still wounding him on 5s. They're not even 6s. So that can do work. Broodlord only has a 4+ save.
And I think Tyler is being a little too conservative with that play there. What is your thoughts on that, Danny?
We'll see. So it looks like he's hanging out with the last Ripper Swarm that's on that objective, and basically daring the guardsmen to come fight him. Now, if he doesn't make a charge move, the Broodlord does count as in light cover, so he'll have a 3+ save, which makes him kind of durable against some of those shots. I think he only has 2 wounds left, though, or maybe that's the Ripper Swarm. Not 100% on that. So we'll see if those guardsmen can come take the objective off of him. And push him forward with those Ripper Swarms on the right-hand side towards that objective.
So as we round out turn 3 here, Danny, we've seen Tyler struggle to score on secondaries. What are some other secondary choices that you think Tyler could have made here with this matchup?
I don't think they're counting up the amount of models that died. So I think that he actually has more secondaries than he would think that he does. He's killed 2 30-man conscript blobs. Oh, hold on, we're getting something here. Oh, slick. Okay, so he could he double moved one of the lictors to get into the deployment zone. So he's getting scramblers.
That's a huge play.
Oh
Scrambles being
man,
an all or nothing. He just guaranteed himself 10
extremely
points
wrinkled
off with
brain.
that. That's real large blooded.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is now in that deployment zone. So while that lictor might not survive this turn, he just guaranteed 10 points for Tyler, which is a huge gain.
Yeah, that is an awesome play. Man, what a great move. So solid. He is fighting tooth and nail to get back in this game, whatever he can do. Amazing play. I'm very that is super cool. What a champ, because lictors are fast. They move 9 inches, so he can move 18 inches and still scramble.
So that's a great wrap up
cool.
of 10 points on that secondary. Scramble's such a great objective. I know we talked earlier about maybe not taking against Horde, especially if your plan is to drop it in. But as we've seen just now, Tyler had to drop it in pretty much just outside his deployment zone and just scored anyway, which goes to the speed of Tyranids.
Yeah, and that is one of the most powerful Tyranid plays or tricks that they have up their sleeve is they have movement shenanigans, and they have a lot of them. Metabolic Overdrive is a really, really great stratagem to move wherever you want to be. So Very powerful play there for Tyler.
And now we're just loading up that objective with Tyranid squads. Looks like we
Yep.
have 3 or 4 squads on there now. And then that
Basically,
Broodlord,
daring Zach to remove his models from the table.
that Broodlord making it into the back of that Lehman Russ, or I guess within an inch of the back of that Lehman Russ, so he can charge in.
Huge.
And then what I think we're looking to see here is that Broodlord charging into the back of that Lehman Russ, and then doing a toe into that bottom right objective, and then using the free movement of consolidation if he can destroy it to really get in there.
So I think he just charged the guard squad, yeah, and then he's gonna consolidate into the Russ, and that removes it from shooting, which is a big deal. And he's basically sacrificing that Broodlord potentially to those Manticores to try and just eke out as many points as he possibly can.
No, I will say we don't know how many CP that the guard player has left over here. So if he is able to lock those guys in combat with the Broodlord, then that's going to be a big deal.
You're right. And the guard player, I think, only started with 8. Or Zach did. I'm sorry. So we'll see if. Yeah, I guess we'll see if he has enough CP to fall back. He's definitely not falling back and shooting. But if he can fall back out of combat, that could be a really big deal. And this is what you have to do with armies like this, right? If you're playing an army that has to be pretty aggressive, and or if you're on the back foot, sometimes you just got to throw it out. You got to throw it all out there. You got to put it all on the line, and just give your opponent absolute target saturation overload. So they have to make decisions, and that's where sometimes mistakes come with target priority.
And while we've seen Zach have great target priority all game, he's now forced with a huge amount of different options here. Because if he doesn't deal with any of these 3 things, or the wrong one of these 3 things, then he can lose some serious primary over it.
Absolutely. Keep in mind too, he's got. Hey, now Seth, I'm not trying to make this anything other than what it is. Like the famous saying goes, a 40 millimeter in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
It's 2 birds is worth a 40 millimeter. I can't believe you forgot that famous saying after less than an hour and a half.
Spoken by Tom Cruise in the movie Roadhouse.
A romantic comedy from the 40s.
It's actually a silent film. I don't know if you knew that. Oh. Again, us here on Biff Pod Stream 2 for Hammer Out Cancer. We're playing Wrong Answers Only.
The best kind of game.
Absolutely. You love to see there was Gunk, there was some Muppets in that movie. So good memory on that. The 40s, famously a Muppet film period.
Yeah, Roadhouse, the 8th Muppet movie. We're seeing some real work though here on the table. Tyranids doing what Tyranids do best and just removing models.
Yeah, buddy, those guys are going straight into the digestion pool.
And weirdly enough, he didn't consolidate, or I think he's hoping that last guardsman dies. He's not touching that Lehman Russ on that bottom right hand corner.
Oh man.
Maybe some misplays there for not consolidating into it.
Well, okay, so and I don't know what the situation here is. Zach may have interrupted
Right.
with the Swarm Lord and just pushed him into base to base. That would have been the first thing that I fought with, was that Swarm Lord. Or the Brood Lord, not the Swarm Lord. The Swarm Lord is an entirely different unit. And so there are some special weapon squads hanging around with plasma guns. You can see some of the 4 and 6 man units. Those guys have 4 all plasma guns, or they may only have 2 plasma guns or 3 plasma guns. Sorry. So
And that's that squad
those are
there.
still
And
a
now we
danger to some of these broodlords too.
And that broodlord is now consolidated into that tank after everything else died from that conscript squad. So that tank now locked from shooting next turn.
Amazing. Super solid. He did it. I'm so proud of him.
The boyhood dream came true. He's stroking the side of a tank. But I think we see top left-hand corner there with that broodlord. Do you see those conscripts moving? Okay, does that Lehman Russ have an angle on that broodlord from there, in the center of the table?
He might. And that's okay. Now that Lehman Russ a tank has to make a difficult choice. Does he shoot at the broodlord at the top or the broodlord at the bottom? So it just depends on which way he's going to go. I think so. He's got the 2 Manticores and the Lehman Russ. Those are the units that are the threat this turn. We'll see which way he decides to go. And if he does target those, he's not targeting the other units on the table.
Which is what he really needs to be in there to keep scoring.
Yeah, and that's giving Tyler scoring potential. I love it. I love it a lot. Oh no. Did the Lehman Russ just squish him?
The Lehman Russ just squished him. Yeah.
Oh my god.
You love to see it. That is
I got run over.
I think if this game had a tagline, it would be statistically improbable.
He may have only had 1 wound left, but still, like, oh, that's such a bad feeling. Oh, I feel for Tyler right now.
Man, I feel for Tyler hard, but at the same time, that broodlord, that was the only play that guy had. It was something he had to do.
Yep.
And you obviously you can't rely on a Lehman Russ, or you can. No one thinks of a Lehman Russ ending your strong broodlord career.
Yeah, his only unbroken bone was his foot, apparently, and the Lehman Russ crushed that too, much like it's crushed Tyler's dreams.
The part of the broodlord this game will be played by
Tyler. Oh, so it looks like we're adding up score at the end of the battle round here. I think we're going to get a score update here in a second as Tyler goes off screen. Counting up objective or counting up models on. I think they're doing that fight
on the yeah.
From the Rippers. Rippers famously great in combat. Do 1 wound.
Right now, the second best combat unit on the table for Tyranids. One could argue, I would say the second best combat unit on the table, but that Lehman Russ in that bottom right hand corner is just.
Oh my god! Yeah, God, what a way to go too, right? Like nobody wants to die to a Lehman Russ in combat.
I just have great images of the broodlord consolidating in and just running into the side of the tank and hitting his head really hard.
He's like, just like he can't stop. It's icy out and like slips and hits his head.
Just tripped, headbutted the side of that Lehman Russ.
These 2 broodlords are played by the actors who played the burglars in Home Alone.
That famous 1930s silent film.
It's the Muppet film.
Oh, and if you guys are having a good time today, all of this weekend is put on to support Hammer Out Cancer. CharityHammer.com has all of the information, all the amazing prizes you can win. How do you enter? You just donate $30. You want to enter 3 times, donate $90. It's that easy, and you too could win one of some of the amazing prizes available.
Oh man, John, tell them about those prizes. They're so cool.
They're so amazing, and I have them all in front of me right now, obviously. There's frontline gaming mats. There is a giant orc lot. 30-odd boxes of orcs, enough for a game of combat patrol. And there is just so many great donated hobby prizes. I love it. The community has come together to just create this amazing event and just really celebrate the hobby and really help hammer out cancer here.
Yeah, and what a cause! What a great cause!
What a great cause. And
Yeah, so donate if you can.
definitely don't fill time while I look up charityhammer.com, which is the place you want to go if you want to donate or see any of the amazing
Oh yeah,
prizes.
and here we'll link it in the chat too. Yes, indeed. Honor and Gonzo. Muppets Take McCrag. The famous battle cry of the
Waka waka waka.
of the Waka Waka Marines.
Oh boy. So yeah, we have the Orcs loot box is one of the winnings. It has 2 of the planes, a whole bunch of bikes, some of the new mega knobs. It's a really great set. We have a fully commission painted, pro painted 2,000 point Necron army. And now we're not talking about like eBay pro painted or your buddy Ralph pro painted. This is a gorgeous gold Necron army, including a Tesseract Vault. We have a Demon Prince, and then we have Bloodletters, Praetors, Memphiston. If you have an army, there's a prize for it. It's just some great things. So Black Library prints, some amazing art. But most importantly, you get the knowledge inside that you're helping hammer out cancer.
Yeah, and that's the important thing here. Truly, that's what we're all That's what we're all doing this for. But man, got great prize support, great games. Really appreciate what these guys are doing, playing their hearts out over here at Charity Hammer.
I just want to point out again, Tyler just did not give up. Like, even though really early in the game he lost all of his offense, he's pulled out some amazing plays, and he is now like taken a 20-point deficit to a 10-point deficit, which just
Look
goes
at
to
him
show
go.
just some amazing games. Just John Cena. This never give up.
The pure determination that he has, even when his Broodlord got killed by a Lehman Russ tank in close combat, he didn't give up.
I mean, at that point, I might have, to be honest. And then
That might be it.
JT, I hope you know that Muppets Take McCrag is now something I will be writing, because that sounds amazing.
We got to do a bit on that.
Oh, heck yeah. Just keep giving us bits. We hate thinking.
Just like everyone else.
We see, that tank commander that was holding the center of the table all game came on back and is now moving towards the right-hand side of the table here, mainly because there's no targets on the left.
Right. Yeah, especially since that Broodlord got aced by, I assume, the Manticores there.
Right. And we still don't have the kill points added into this game, I believe. So the final score is going to look a little bit different overall.
And keep in mind, this is that was turn 3, so we're going into turn 4.
A brutal game, which is a really great game of 9th edition, where just heavy casualties early.
Oof.
So, Danny, how do you see Tyler maximizing his points now? Like, well, what are plays he's going to make? Because he has a lot of things on the right-hand side of the table. Does he just have to give up on the left-hand side and kind of go for 10 primary points every turn?
I mean, that's all he can do. The Lictors might be able to tie up some stuff or kill some things to kind of maybe oh, okay, never mind. Well, I was gonna say,
we're like the worst. We're the worst luck people here, Danny, because it seems to be any unit we mention or start talking about just gets removed from the table.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say this turn he loses. Oh my god. Okay, so just for everybody listening at home, the Broodlord that died, the Lehman Russ hit him 3 times and wounded him 3 times. So that's 3 hits on 6s. And then wounding him on 3s. And Tyler had to fail all 3 4-up armor saves.
So Zach's dice back on the table is something people want to win.
Yeah, someone donate
Holy
those
shit,
dice.
Yeah, someone donate those dice. Yeah, if you have a line to Tyler, tell him Zach's dice now need to be donated. Because, man, some of these plays this game, like getting on 5 objectives turn 1, taking out a Broodlord with a tank. Just some really great things happening there.
I know that is insane. Because like he can't use crush them. So like because I think that's only if you charge. Um
Well, to be fair, he did use crush them, just not on the models, on dreams.
just on Tyler's dreams and chances of winning the game. Oh man.
Thank you, everyone, for sticking around for us here. If you have questions in the chat about the game, about what happened earlier, maybe about Danny's opinions of what things can do, maybe even some more Muppet movies, let us know.
Everybody loves the Muppets. Oh, apparently my mistake. It looks like a Guardman did do 1 wound to the Broodlord, but the Lehman Russ still did 2. That's insane. That's insane. And he did 3 wounds all in 1 round of combat with between 1 Guardsman and a Lehman Russ.
That
The
Lehman
ultimate
Russ
tag team.
better give him some kind of battle honor or some kind of paint job, like a Brood Killer.
Dang.
And so I
What
think
what a fun game though. Like even
great
though
game.
Tyler's been on the back foot the whole time, he's really pulling out his all and trying to stay in it.
And even just for
despite
Tyranids, I was gonna say, even just for Tyranids players, some great counter plays and some great things that he did there to really maximize what he could.
I mean, literally, he has nothing on the table. Like he has like no good units left. But somehow he's trying his best to stay in it. Which is really impressive. Now, one thing to keep in mind: these Manticores are now out of missiles. They cannot shoot anymore this game. So if I'm Tyler, I'm throwing that Lictor onto that objective on his turn and just trying to sit there and hold it the best I can. He probably won't be able to hold it forever, but it will allow him to stay in the game a little bit longer because there's nothing really that can shoot at the Lictor through the wall of that building. So all the indirect is gone. However, also Synapse is gone, so he's not going to auto pass leadership tests. So those rippers are leadership 4, and they're probably not long for this world.
Does he still have a squad hidden behind those containers on the top end of the table, or is everything kind of presented?
I believe there's a squad behind the containers as well. I did see that before.
So if he can keep holding 2, that's going to get him 10 primary points again, which again is what he just needs to claw. Scorched Earth is take 1, control 1 5 points, control 2 10 points, and he just really easy way for him to kind of continue to maximize as much as possible. The only problem is, as soon as that Lehman Russ moves an inch, he's going to lose one of those objectives, but he can at least keep scoring 5 points every turn.
Yeah, I think what Tyler does this game for the rest of the game is just try and hide on his turn. He's got no real reason to stick his nose out and do anything.
He already
just tries
has
to control
scrambles. He's got as much engage as he's going to get.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right. Just kind of trying to stay out of line of fire, and kind of stay out of sight of all these guys. And I think we're seeing this here, where he's just going to destroy the table until he gets the terrain where he wants it to be.
And he's not going to get tabled either, John. Like,
no.
Which is pretty impressive considering how quickly he lost models this game.
I said just some great plays from Tyler, to be honest, and Zach too. He's made some amazing plays, but
Zach was on point. Like he was doing all the right stuff. By all means, we're not trying to diminish Zach's play. Just a really fun game. Close, like not close, but basically with nothing. Tyler is trying to keep in it.
Tyler's pulled an extra 22 points out of a 10-point game at this point here, and that's
unreal.
Just pure great plays and just really great decision making.
And this is a good example of what you can do with minimal resources. Just like try and pull these janky plays. You've got nothing to risk. You might as well just try and get as many points as you possibly can. And that's one of the best parts about Warhammer in my mind is you're never really totally out. There's almost always still a chance.
And even if there's not. If you're playing an RTT, it's only one loss, and if you have a high scoring loss and you're pulling out every point you can, it only serves you better at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I'm what a fun game to comment on. This has been a super good time.
And honestly, what a great game if you're a Tyranid player to see what you can do. Tyranid's relying really big on big monsters right now, but what do you do when those go away? Like, how do you react? What do you do? And Tyler is, like I said, just shown some really great plays of how to do that.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that Colin and him were talking about what to play or how to run his army a little bit differently, and I think that the decision was he needs one more kind of hammer unit. I think that's probably a pretty smart play.
So,
It
how would
is.
how would you
Go ahead.
adjust Tyler's list to kind of get the most out of what he's trying to do?
I think you maybe want a few less Ripper Swarms. I'm not sure what you take instead, though. I don't think you want the Hive Guard, even though it's easy to say that you do, just because they're so effective. I think you want some kind of maybe a melee threat. Got it. Yeah, if he could pull out a Demakiron in this list, did the Lehman Russ just do another wound to the leg during combat?
So that Lehman Russ needs battle honors like yesterday. Who knew? The close combat core of a guard army isn't Bulgrin. It's Lehman Russ battle tanks.
Yeah, just run over your foot all day long. There's no lawsuits in 40K, so there's no way you're going to get charged if you just run over someone's foot. Yeah, JT, I agree. 9th edition, it's never really over, right? And we're moving on to turn 5 here. Yeah, do these guys have spike tracks? Maybe they look like they're Valhallans. Maybe they have studded tracks, like studded tires.
But man, did you guys imagine when you were joining this stream 2 here for Hammer Out Cancer that you would see the ultimate destructive close combat power of a Lehman Russ? And again, we're going to work hard to make Zach give up some of his dice because, good lord.
All right, and that last lictor going down. So all he's got left is a couple of Ripper Swarms, and I think that's it.
Yeah, like I said, Zach played a pretty perfect game from this side here.
He did great. Yeah.
And it really goes to show kind of the power of guard, where he was able to early reach out and touch every objective he possibly could. He did some really great objective screening, so that Tyler could not get anything onto those objectives early on and started pulling away from primary really early. And then those Manticores, man, those Manticores did work.
They really did. What a great unit.
And something I haven't seen a ton in guard armies. People tend to go like with Wyverns or things that have more guaranteed shots every turn, but those Manticores just did so much work. We're seeing new
full payload.
We're seeing new multi-meltas in action and how they just really messed up those Hierodules. And even with a good dice rolling, they're doing a lot of work against those things there. I think Tyler in the start, boxing himself in with those giant models might have seemed good from a protection standpoint, but really limited where he could go and kind of allowed him to be boxed in really early on there and kind of gave up entire control of the board. And I feel if you're taking something like Engage All Fronts, you don't want to give up that much of the board that early.
Right, exactly. I think we're going in for a final score update. Man, Zach maxing out primary, no surprise there.
Almost maxing out secondary there with a 40.
Solid 40.
So looking at a 95-point game from Zach, which I think goes to show just how great he did overall in just those plays.
Yep. And then let's see how Tyler did here. Tyler got 15 primary. I'm really interested to see the secondary score. I think Tyler did better than he should by all rights in his secondary scoring.
It looks like he took 25 for secondary, 15 for primary. to pull 40 points out of that game where he lost 2/3 of his higher duels turn 2 is an amazing testament to Tyler's skill.
For real. He pulled all the jank that he possibly could to make sure that he stayed in that game, which is awesome. Man, what a great game. So if you guys haven't had a chance yet, check out charityhammer.com. This is the Hammer Out Cancer stream. We just got through another game in the losers bracket, so it looks like Zach moves on to face the winner of the Chuck versus Paul match. I'm going to go see what the score is there. It looks like it's 28-34 right now, but it doesn't look like Paul has a lot left. I think that while he had a little bit of an early lead, I think Chuck's probably going to take that one, but we'll see. You never can count it out, right?
Absolutely.
So it looks like it may be a Zach versus Chuck game for the final round of the losers bracket. And then that person, of course, fighting against the winner of the winners bracket. So we'll have to see how that all ends up. But yeah, check out charityhammer.com. We're doing a Hammer Out Cancer. We're doing this. All these games are for charity. So if you have a chance, donate if you can. You can find the link to the donate on PayPal, or it's paypal.me/charityhammer. So go ahead and donate if you can. There's some great raffle prizes. Every $30 that you donate enters you into a raffle of a bunch of donated items. John, what's the item that you would be most excited to win?
The item I would most be excited in would be probably I don't need any more blood ladders. I have quite enough already.
Yeah.
But there's Plague Bearers, always great options in there. There's a Dark Shroud. That Katachan Colonel, he's in there. He might be the only way you can get that amazing model. And honestly, I think that's
Wow.
this store limited edition Katachan Colonel. So if you go on eBay right now, you're probably paying 10 times $30 just to get that guy. There's also an Art of War Champions contest entrance ticket. The White Scars print, some more Black Library prints, a whole lot of orcs. The Orcs Loots box, which pains me to say, even grammatically, is an orc thing. A 2,000 point commissioned painted Necron army, which is just gorgeous. Completely gold. Just really, really good job on that there. There is a naughty looking painted Demon Prince of Slanesh that is not safe for work, but safe for your home with a donation of $30. You might be able to take
Maybe your
that
local
home.
tournament.
Maybe your local tournament. We'll see. I think everyone has those players who brings those that you ask to put things over. But yeah, for sure. Those are the prizes. What an amazing game. And like I said, what a great lesson from Zach or Taylor about never giving up.
Right,
Because
absolutely.
it would have been really easy after turn 2 to just kind of call it game. If he did at that point, he would have had 7 points total. So in those last
know,
two
right?
turns, being able to pull 33 points out of literal nothing is just a great testament. And again, if you're at your RTT and you are playing and this is your result, an extra 21 points over your next place player can be the difference between kind of lower mid-table and mid-table, or lower mid-bracket and mid-bracket.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
I think that we'll move on to the next stream. I think John, you're going to commentate here in another like 40 minutes.
Coming up in 40 minutes, I'll be on with Alex McDougall to talk about it, and then Danny and I will be back in 6 hours, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Same Can Hammer stream, number 1 stream, and Danny and I will be closing out this stream together. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been an honor to be able to commentate here. CharityHammer.com. Go donate your heart out if you can. If you cannot, thank you for joining us and engaging with us in chat. We'll see you soon.